Well, this is a very improvised um, record. It's already very, very late, actually. It's just 4 in the morning already. So I am doing this mostly because I feel more honest and try to put more effort and work around, try to explain to what the situation I'm having right now, right? Now, just quick note, this is nothing seriously to talk about my health or anything related to that. Just a video for venting mostly, right? So we had, or I had a project that take me like 60 years, no, 60 days already, right? So even when I confirmed to say I don't want to do more work with this asset in particular, right? I don't want to add more stuff to it because I have already extended the time period that will work about this SFM already, right? And say, hey, I'm going to limit my amount of things I'm going to do. And say, okay, I'm going to compile this thing. I'm going to zip it as soon as I can. So then this happens. Another exception file for a single mesh, what for no reason has causing issues when I have to compile, right? So I resume this thing and then I can show the window. This is the window. This is the screen. So we have here exception window cause for a reason I don't know actually. For a reason what I cannot comprehend, I need to find a solution to make it work. But it's just a simple asset, a simple probe of this particular ears over here. But are refusing to make the model compile. And the worst part is this thing used to work yesterday. This thing used to work yesterday, pretty flawless. And then I have to export everything together again because I don't want to have the issue I used to have early yesterday, no, early 2 days ago, when I wanted to make the clothes fit together. And somehow what I did, I changed the skeleton, and therefore the model misaligned with this whole suite. And then I kind of forgot about that. I was thinking, what the hell, this thing is not fitting no longer. Of course, I changed the skeleton of the body, so I have to put a discipline on myself, saying, okay, export every single asset before compiling it, at least for this project. And when I do that, now the model I used to work no longer works. Uh, so the whole idea was to abandon this software before the previous year ended, and it's already 17th of January. It's already 17 days after I supposed to actually finish this model in particular with a certain amount of assets and only was able to manage to export and craft and suite, right? And meanwhile, I sent the model to test it. I sent the model to do some changes. Some people were pointing out some inequalities in the model features. I refused to change them because change them requires more time, requires more work. Maybe a lot of people will look at me and say, hey, I am very incompetent working on that. I probably am in comparison to many other people, but that doesn't deny the fact what I personally can't. Um, I hope, I wish I can actually be more competent. So I save me a lot of times where I screamed at the computer, where I actually grasp my mouse very hard, where I actually yell to my screen why this goddamn piece of software doesn't work. Um, and it's a very sad situation for me because I wanted to make things very fancy for this software. I want them to be very good and show with this model in particular all I learned over the years and try to demonstrate my love from this community, what always supported me, what always give it the unconditional support to do the things I do and allow me to work whatever I can in the way I can. We have a very huge amount of tolerance on me. a tolerance what I feel pretty dirty, not corresponding in the same way when I has to face these kind of issues. And everyone knows how things are made when things are going flawless, right? We have Sandy Cheeks, what despite takes 6 weeks of production was a very, very top tier model in my opinion, at least in the amount of stuff I wanted to deliver. Then we have Jenny Wakeman or XG9, what is a very good model of care, what was pretty easy to port ironically despite the complexity. But the model is stand out more for visually looking pretty outstanding instead to be uh, inherent, inherently complex as a ECV model itself. Every time I try to do something what kind of give it a little amount to stand out, what doesn't is just visually, is feature wise. I had I face a lot of road bumps, what I don't know how to address, what delay me, and sometimes when things go normally good, it's when people start to giving a report of an issue, what take me days to fix. I mean, a lot of energy put into compiling, testing, sending it back, checking it again. That person tell me, "Oh no, it's still broken." Despite I check it myself, I discovered the model was working, and didn't work because was under a very specific situation that that artist was trying to set up the model, and therefore only was exploitable in that way and not in the traditional ways to testing the model. So I was kind of forced back then to try to make art with my own models. The problem is when you are working in a model what is in production and you do artwork. But I actually post this thing when I complained about a living easy film a year ago. And when you actually try to do artwork for that specific model and you found dozens of books what takes you days, hours to days to fix, and your artistic mood is there hanging out for days, drying out, and then the model you need to work and do a render for showcase the model itself, you are already tired because you have to do a lot of preparation work just to make the model functional. Some people are way more bold than me. They just do the model, do a pose model, do a poster, beautiful work from every single person that actually do promotional work for me, and I cannot actually give it enough thanks to all of them. But when it has to work and it's my responsibility to actually fix many of these things, and I spend a lot of time to fix it, um, it's it's demoralizing to say the least. It's annoying and it's sad. Again, I wanted to give a proper model to everyone. I wanted to give a more proper thanks you for all your time, SFM. Thanks you for all these years of service, and thanks you for giving the life you are bringing me and all the community. But at the end of the day, that was mostly the responsibility of the entire wonderful community than the software itself, right? And I want you to understand that what the people have that power, not just the tool. Because as I see this is my goodbye kind of video about that software in particular. I don't know how we're going to finish working on this model in particular. Will be very just keep it like that and say you have the model, there you go. Bye. See ya later, but will be never a later because we will not work in that software anymore. Will be a very overwhelmed, very diminutive, very disappointing to my standard, I guess. Maybe it's too much to make a video this format, but at the same time, it's the last one I was bringing on. And a lot of people may be thinking, well, this is the last model, this is the last project we will work in, this is a very great goodbye. And sadly, that were my plans, that were my intentions, that were my effort to make it work. But here I am, 4:28 in the morning, and this goddamn model doesn't still work. I don't know how much stress I can eat trying to port this thing already. I guess it's just a goodbye. It's an end. It's just se finish, se acabó, no more. Um, I don't know. I can barely post this thing on Blender and make a poster like I did with Sandy, like I did with many of the older models, where I was basically working kinda decently with other projects. But this one, no, this one to refuse to work properly. It's kinda coarse. I do what the best I can. Sadly, I can feel utterly defeated with this stupid damn software. What every single time is actually taking a lot of cortisol from myself. I think it's the cortisol thing, is the stress thing, what actually builds inside of you, make you over the years sick, right? Believe me, I had a lot of stress dealing with some family issues over the year. I had to deal with a lot of personal problems, personal situation. What I'm not gonna bother much giving a lot of details about that. I had a very rough year. Uh, that wasn't easy 2024 for me, and I kind of feel I can start 2025 without abandoning and try to clean up or every single uh, sorry, every single asset that I have in my computer, so that has to do a wallet fresh install before experimenting with Blender. I feel so sorry for every single person I used to own a project, mostly for favors, mostly for things I promise, and sadly I cannot no longer deliver because sadly I don't want to deal with this thing anymore. I don't want to touch ECFM in any means, in any format, in any capacity. And I actually tell a year ago a lot of people just move on. Try to learn Blender, try to learn how to do things that most basically it is. Sadly, there's no many tutorials that actually focus on people who want to move from ECFin to Blender specifically. There's nothing of that, and I kind of feel responsible to trying to actually guide some people to actually do that. And I wish I had time to do that, but here I am, 4 in the morning, ranting about this very obsolete piece of shit of software because this thing refuses to work in the proper way. It's like a lottery, and the more it's like boiling milk. You put that thing in the stove, and you have to constantly waste your time paying attention to that thing because otherwise, in the moment you see somewhere else it's starting to boil. This is kind of the opposite. The more attention you want to give to something to work, more it's prone to fail. And it's not something you can psychologically trigger up or fix it. The software is randomly prone to fail in some points, in many points. Like right now, this model should be compiled, packed, and already started to write into export the features of this bare bones asset because it is what it is. It's a very cute model. What every time I see it, I feel it's already coarse, taint, poison, trash, disabled, handicap with the capabilities of the software she will be bring on. She can, somebody can pick it up in the assets and try to port it, make it barely working rig using rig it all, rigging themselves or whatever. This thing is tainted. This thing is already broken. It requires a decent amount to make it work properly in Blender, like many models. But I has to think the amount of time I will actually investing. Try to make every single ECVM, at least from the recent the past or the previous year generations of model to be ported to ECVM to Blender because I don't know what the hell to do. Where I'm going to allocate time to undo everything and try to make it work in Blender and distribute it in the official manners. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. Some models will not make the cut, as much likely they were. Some people will reported it, yeah, but that is not a guarantee. It's like asking for a healer in a hero shooter, and nobody will bring it up and say, "Where is the healers? Where is the healers?" And nobody want to be the healer. This situation is kind of the same. Again, I try. I put a lot of effort here. My, my pressure level skyrockets. I try to do. I wish the things works more faster. The things wish things work properly, but they refuse to do so. And I have 10 years touching this software, and when you have an error from something what you cannot identify in the next 10 minutes, and you are standing like this at the monitor for 10 minutes, despite all the years you are already know how to fix a lot of the thousands of bugs this thing has, you are in troubles. I don't know what they're going to do with the ear. Probably going to export it to FBX and another format, import it back, do bullshit like that to make it work. But that's how you use it to solve some issues like this. 5 years ago, I don't know. Uh, I think this is not apologize video. It's already I need help, but there's nobody else where I can actually ask for help because I feel I am the only one incompetent enough to try to solve these kind of problems. As much people want to offer help, um, they well every time they ask, "Hey, I can help," I send the model and say, "There's no solution for this." Over and over the time, and I just have to sit here, waste time, try to fix something what should be fixed 2 weeks ago. SFM won this time, and sadly, it suicides itself each time it defeats me. At times, it's like to defeat me requires the software actually code each limb, and then the thing started to loud and run away, bleeding out as time passed on, and slowly, eventually will be pass out and die bleeding because nobody is updating it. Pragma SFM is not going to come for until the next 2 years. Valve, unless they release Half-Life 3 miraculously this year, it will be just another version of Source Filmmaker 2, but they will not ever gonna to update again. I'm probably going to be mistaken on that. But I prefer to accept the risk because I probably just saying they wanted to release that an updated version of the software, but they always updated the software as a better format. They're not actually interesting enough to actually fix it. Probably going to mistake. I hope for the sake of many art an artist creator, I usually mistaken and they release Source Filmmaker 3 revamped, updated with live support with 64 bits with with um, with actual modding tools to make whatever the actual modding tools and a lot of documentation. I really wish future artists will have a tool like that. But in the meanwhile, the only thing closest to that thing and is actually contemporary is Blender. Is where I'm going to go. And sadly, as much as I wanted to give something to thanks a lot of people for all the years of service, all the years being here, doing maybe I don't know a very beautiful poster with all my characters on it, with all my My work with all the evolution over the years there will not be possible in SFM. And even if I wanted to do it in the blender, it will take me a lot of time because most of the models are not even rigged or no longer compatible because they're models of 10 years ago. Somebody remember how well Blender used to be back then? Sorry. And I just wish this model will be released for tomorrow. And to just present the very bones how she is because I cannot do more. I don't want to do more. I am not willing to do more at this point. It's over. Thanks you to every single one who was with me along all these years, modding with me this software. But sadly, it's over, comrades. See ya.